much do you know about fermentation? You may be familiar with some of its most famous creations: beer, bread, and yogurt. Today, researchers are adding a dash of science to make this age-old process new again into what's called precision fermentation. This new food process may hold the key to unlock the future of sustainable food, because we need to produce more protein from more sources sustainably to feed a growing world. Let's tuck in. When you think of fermentation, you may think of beer brewing in a large barrel or bread dough rising in a bowl. Today, it's a very high-tech process. Yeast and fungi can be put to work to produce entirely new products like milk or egg proteins, or ingredients like meat fats. These have the same texture, taste, and nutritional profile as the traditional kind, but without the animal. So, what is fermentation and how has it evolved? Fermentation has been used for thousands of years. It uses naturally occurring microorganisms like yeast to turn one thing into another. In beer, for example, yeast breaks down glucose, triggering a chemical reaction that turns sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. Fermentation has been evolving for some time now. Now, the next evolution of food production is here: precision fermentation. What then is precision fermentation and why is it so exciting? Precision fermentation has been used extensively since the 80s to produce a whole range of high-value pharmaceuticals and vitamins in fortified foods. You're more than likely to have consumed something containing precision fermentation ingredients already.
It's a technique where we engineer yeast cells so that they start to produce all kinds of functional food ingredients.
Thanks to advances in tech, the costs of precision fermentation have come down. So much so that it can now be used to produce higher volume, low value products like food.
So at the moment we're looking at the important proteins that are found in milk and trying to make those without a cow. We identify the proteins that we're interested in milk, and then we engineer the sequences for those proteins into a yeast strain so it makes those proteins for us. We then go through a process to improve production of those proteins, and then we scale it up into much larger fermenters to produce enough material to test, and then ultimately we scale up to very large volumes, up into the hundreds of thousands of litres, to enable us to produce large amounts that people can actually eat or drink.
What are the possibilities for future foods?
So what is amazing and exciting about this technology is that we're limited in terms of applications by the limits of our imagination. For example, we're currently working with the CSIRO startup Eden Brew in helping them produce casein. And casein is a unique protein that you can find in cow's milk and can be used in all kinds of dairy formulations, but also ice creams. But there's a whole other suite of products that are following suit and that you will likely soon find on the shelves in the supermarket. For example, egg white substitutes made without the chicken. Lactoferrin, which is a kind of a wonder protein that's been found in breast milk that has a whole lot of positive attributes associated with it, can be used for precision fermentation to add, for example, to infant formula. But also gelatins that can be made without the need for animals. So basically, the sky is the limit.
Cheers. Is the idea to make products that replace meat and plant foods?
The idea is not to replace more traditional animal and plant-based proteins. The idea is to be able to tap into a broad variety of different sources that can produce proteins sustainably, not just to feed a growing world population, but also to be able to address their needs in terms of nutrition and health. Now, in the end, it comes down to be able to offer a broad variety of options and choices to the consumers that match better their desires in terms of dietary patterns and dietary needs.
How sustainable is precision fermentation?
Precision fermentation as a technology holds great promise for the sustainable production of food proteins and food ingredients. But of course, this needs to be backed by science. So there's still some work to be done to be able to make sure that we have the data to back up some of these sustainability claims. And this will be key to make sure that we have openness towards the consumer, but also the trust of the consumer.
Stand by, because ice cream and milk products will soon be on their way to the market. Our future protein mission has co-founded Australian companies like Eden Brew to bring these to market, and they taste surprisingly just like the real thing.